Everybody, Uneducated Economist here. So we're going to do a little bit of a different kind of video here today because we're going to talk about what it is that you can do with this information. Actually probably one of the biggest questions I get on this channel is, what is it that I'm supposed to do with this information? Earlier today in the comment section of today's video was that very question. How does the credible threat theory affect the economy? Like, how is it this is going... Wi-Fi. Okay. And so I get this question a lot. Like, what is it that I'm supposed to do? I mean, I've heard it. I've retained this information. Now, what is it that I'm supposed to do? Like, tell me how. Like A, B, C, D. Like 1, 2, 3. Tell me exactly what it is that I'm supposed to do with this information so that I can better myself, me and my family, and all the other stuff. And so I keep trying to answer this question, and I show again, like, the theory, and I show again and explain what's happening and try to tell people, well, internalize the information so that you can, see it for yourself, because everybody's living a different life. And I repeat these things over and over again, and people really just don't seem to get it. And then it finally dawned on me. It's the meaning. It's the meaning that you give it. See, if you give it meaning, then it'll have a different outcome in your life. And it doesn't really matter. Oh, let me turn here, guys. You guys, like, a lot of people make fun of me for sitting in the seat like this, all crooked. Okay, so it's really comes down to just about anything in life that you can relate this to. It doesn't matter, the economy, my channel, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just take this information for what it is. But it really comes down to the meaning that you give just about anything in life. And takes, for example, a particular event happens, like being fired, right? Being fired from your job. This is a really good one to use. This is a great analogy. So you get fired from your job, and most of the time you are going to be fairly upset about that, especially if it comes at a surprise, if it was unjust, right? Especially if you were not justified in this firing, or at least if you don't feel that way. Or maybe if you feel that there was some sort of background rumors or something that got the best of you, or you're just making something up, right? You're just kind of gone loony on the whole idea. All these different ways of looking at this is the meaning that you are giving it. So it's a particular event, the meaning that you're giving it, and then the feelings that you have about it, right? Those people were after me. My boss hates me. My, whatever. You just make up whatever, fill in the blank kind of thing. And this is how it is that you are now going to conduct yourself going into the future. So as you go to deal with whatever it is in your life, like you're going to go for another job or something like that, you're going to be carrying this energy of those people were after me kind of thing, right? And then say you did find a job, right? You found another job. And even if it was a job that was a better job than you had before, you may still be carrying this energy of those people were horrible to me. And, and shame on them and all this negative thoughts about it, and have this meaning towards them and say, oh, I got a better job anyway, screw you, kind of thought. Now, that's one way of looking at it, right? And I've kind of done something similar to this myself. But then I've also seen it happen in other people where something very similar would go down, but then when they got that job, they were thankful for getting fired from the first one. They were actually appreciative of it. They said, if that didn't happen, I never would have found this other job. I would have been stuck there. I would have been doing the same thing that I didn't realize was maybe in a toxic relationship, and I didn't even know that it was happening because I was justifying the experience being there. And then all of a sudden, here it is. I got this dream job, and it never would have taken place had this, firing, the separation, this dumping hadn't occurred. So actually having that happen in your life can at times create a situation in which that is a benefit to you, right? So understanding this is how the meaning of something can change the outcome, right? You have a better job because of this happening. Screw those people. I got my job, and the negative and positive aspects that come from that. So now when you look at things in life, you can give it any meaning you want. It doesn't matter. And so when I look out there at information and I think about, okay, what's going on out there in the world, I don't look at it and say, how is this going to impact my neighbor's life? I think about how it's going to impact my life. This is, internalizing the information. Now, I can think about how it's going to impact on a broad scale because I think about macroeconomics. But when I think about what it is that I'm going to do personally, I know it's going to be way different from my neighbor. My neighbor's this old lady, right? She's like 90 years old. If she is even caring about this information, man, the meaning that she would give it, if I was to tell her, it would be like, oh, that's real interesting. Like I care, dude. Like she would not care. And so understanding that's how you look at the information is all about the meaning and feeling that you are giving it. So now think about that when it comes to how it is that you are looking at a video, right? See, I even think about I'm looking for information out there. I'm gathering the information. I'm out there. I'm doing the information. Okay, now what am I supposed to do with the information? Okay. Again, what is the kind of meaning that you're doing by even gathering the information to begin with? Are you trying to give me the information so I have it. Okay, now that I got the information, what am I supposed to do with the information? I got the information, right? Instead of saying, okay, I'm out there, I'm reading the information, I'm internalizing the information, I'm going to use this information, and I'm not going to take anything from anybody, right? The information is just information, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't really make any difference to me. It's just something I'm going to take, and I'm just going to internalize it and move on with my life. And then hope that I make the appropriate decisions. That's the meaning that I have given it. But other people want to give it meaning that says, hey, I need to take something from this. I need to receive something from this. And so for me, it's a neutral. It's just like a give or take. It doesn't matter. It's just like, for me, it's just information that I can use or not use. It's just something that I internalize and listen to or think about maybe in the future and can recall. And by using it as this neutral, it's a free-flowing thing that doesn't really occur to me to be good or bad or ugly. So when you take the information from the video, are you trying to take information? Are you saying, give it to me? What is it that I need to do with my life in order to conduct myself in a way that is most appropriate for me and my family? And I'm thinking, why are you trying to take the information like that? Just receive it. It's there. It's free-flowing. It's not something you have to take. You don't have to take it from me. It's just right there. Right? So once you start seeing it in this fashion, you're going to understand that about the meaning that you give something is just like getting fired. That was a good thing that happened. I mean, I understand at the moment it felt wrong and, oh man, it's so uncomfortable and, pissed off and angry emotions and feelings and everything that comes from it. But the outcome from it was this wonderful experience of having a better job. How could you possibly get mad at that? Like, that's a good thing that took place. So how is it that you want to give that meaning to anything that's out there is really entirely up to you, because it's going to change the way that you have an outcome from it. It's either going to be a good and bad experience from it. You can be in a bad experience, even though being a better... See, this is what's funny about it. The ego will make it feel like it's a bad experience on purpose to prove right. See, like, how many people, like, here's a good example of it. How many people have you ever seen, like, in a breakup with a relationship, like they'll break up with their girlfriend or something, or the girlfriend will dump them or something like that. And then they will be in this depressive state and saying, oh man, like she did this to me kind of thing. Right. And then their like life deteriorates. They don't show up for work and they drink a lot. And then their just life kind of just keeps going downhill. Right. It's because of this meaning that they have given this relationship. Like she dumped them. Right. That's the meaning. Right. Instead of giving it meaning that he's like, man, like she left me for a better dude. Like, why is that dude so much better or something? This is the meaning that he's given it. Instead of going like, that relationship really wasn't working out anyway. I was dancing around on eggshells. She was not treating me well. I was simping out like crazy. And then when she finally dumped me, it broke my heart. And instead of like stepping up and being a man and saying, okay, you know what? That hurt. It sucked. I learned my lesson. I'm going to get like, whatever. I'm moving on. Right? And then go back to work. So one guy's life deteriorates because he gives it this meaning with this relationship that this girl had dumped him, and it was everything in his heart and everything that he had done in his life to have, to have this, relationship, and then it's over and he can't handle it anymore and he doesn't show up for work and he starts drinking and his life deteriorates because that's the meaning you give it. And he didn't have to do it that way. Just like you didn't have to give that information or that life experience any kind of other meaning than the one that you're giving it. Just like the lady who I heard crying her eyes out because of the things that Trump administration is doing. And I'm thinking, quit watching. Quit watching the TV. Go on a walk. Go to the beach. Go hang out. Go play pinball. Pinball's my favorite game to go play at the arcade. Go play pinball. All right. So giving that information and giving it whatever it is that you choose to do. If you choose to give it information that says this is going to deteriorate my life, I guarantee you the ego will prove it right. Just like the guy who has deteriorated his life in the relationship, the ego is saying, without her, my life sucks and I'm going to prove it. Boom. And I'm like, he may not say that outwardly, but he's saying that in his head, and he drinks himself and doesn't show up to work, and, and he just deteriorates his life. And he says, see, I proved it. Like, without her, I'm suck. Right. And then the other dude is just like, oh God, what a stupid move I did. I can't believe I did all those crazy things. I spent all that money on her and all that other stuff, and all my friends made fun of me. Well, okay, got to go to work, right? And then you go to work, and then you get on with life, and then eventually you don't think about it, and you move on, and you get into other relationships. And it's just like, how do you want your outcome to be? Then you give it that sort of meaning. It's not that hard, right? I want this information to do good by me. I'm not going to take the information and say, I got to do something with it. Please tell me what I need to do. I take the information and look out there at the rest of the world and say, okay, I've internalized it. What is it that, I'm going to be doing with my life is going to be different from what my neighbor's going to do. And, what somebody who has businesses is going to do, what somebody who has real estate's going to do. It's all different for every single person out there because we own our economy individually. That's like, there's no other way of looking at it. There's some people who are deeply in debt, and there's some people who own that debt. All right? The slave and the slave owners, which position have you taken? It's not difficult to see. Right? For a lot of people, it's not easy to see. I guess for a lot of people, it isn't easy to see. I mean, what the hell's going on? Okay, but once you understand it, once you understand the economics, and you understand, and you've earned, you got the information, and you're looking at it. Don't look for the information to tell you something. Like, don't try to take it in that fashion. Just use it. It's there. It's free. It's just information. It's just data, right? And then once you're free flowing with the information, I assure you, you'll be making the decisions appropriately. You think I don't go to any single YouTube channel to go like, what do I need to do in order to make the next move, right? Like, I mean, I take the information just the same as everything else, and it'd be like, that's an interesting point of view. I never really thought about it like that. Well, onward, right? And that's how everybody should really be looking at it. That's how you own your economy. Otherwise, you're going to be left up to somebody else. See, here's the thing. If you don't do it that way, then you will be left up to somebody else to make the decision for you. No doubt about it. I mean, it will definitely be that way because you're like, when you ask, what do I need to do with this information? You are literally giving up the power to somebody else to make the decision for you. Like, that's not the way it should go down. Like, when you look at it, it should be, how is this information going to benefit me? It's like an internal thing, right? If you take the internal and you move it out there, then you have the expectation on the external. You have everything out there, right? What do I do with the information is different from how do I use this information? Like, literally, even just say it. Say the words differently. Right? If you're looking to how do you use this information, literally just like that. Right? Instead of what do I do? How do I use this? Is this important to me right now? Don't forget about this. Take note of it. Set it off to the side. whatever it is that you need to do. But this is how you move this idea of what am I supposed to do with this information to better my life, to I'm bettering my life with this information because I'm gathering it. Just simply that's it. And then internalizing the information to the point that I don't look at it or even listen. You can listen to the same people. Don't change anything about the way you're listening to it. Just change about the meaning that how you're receiving the information. Instead of looking out there at the world and saying, what am I supposed to do? Say, how am I supposed to, ask yourself, how am I supposed to use this information? For me personally, because the uneducated economist is going to do something far different with the information than what you're going to do. Okay, let me see. I can hardly read this thing. I don't understand how everybody does not see all the propaganda everywhere around us all the time from everybody, including me and Simon. Yeah, and well, see, that's just the thing. Like every single bit of information that you have ever gotten, it all comes down to the meaning and the feelings that you have with it. Literally, that's it. Like you can change, you can manifest anything into your reality by literally giving it a thought and a feeling that's behind it. And I guarantee you, if you have a positive or negative feeling about the idea or thought that you have, it will deliver to you that outcome. And this is what's crazy about it is it's like manifesting realities is really not that hard, right? It's difficult in the sense that there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in order for you to manifest some big things into your reality, like speaking on stage at particular economic events that you never thought in your life that you'd be speaking at. When you manifest those kind of realities, it isn't hard to do that. I had a thought about it a really long time ago. It was a thought of excitement and good feelings, and I thought, man, I can do this. I'm an entertainer. I can be out there and speak in front of people. I know I could get out there on stage and share my thoughts and ideas with people. And I never really had any other thought other than that. That's it. And I never thought of how I was going to get there. I never thought about the things that I would need to do in order to get on stage and, make the steps. Step one, got to do this. Step two, get some training. Step three, get practiced. I didn't do any of that stuff. It was right to the top. 850 people at the Rebel Capitalist, first time speaking for an hour straight. Wow, man. Like, I didn't know I could do it until I did it, but it was all within my head and how it is that I felt about it, which was then made the steps. Step one way back in the day was get some practice speaking in front of people and entertaining. That was bingo. Like I got that one covered. I didn't think about doing it. I was just doing it anyway. And next step, moved on and eventually start the YouTube channel, talk about economics, meet George Gammon, do all these different things, and eventually talk about lumber and have lumber blow up and all these things that just lined up in the universe so that I could be up on stage. And then eventually one day it was there. It was just like, I don't remember doing anything to try and get there. Not a single thing. I don't remember trying to do that part at all. In fact, I got to the point where I was just like, I don't know if I can do that, man. I almost called George Gammon back out, just like a month before I was supposed to go down there. Yeah. But once you have done it and you recognize that it wasn't luck that got you there, but that it was literally you and the feelings and the energies that you were carrying and the thoughts that you had about going there. People have done it before in their life. They don't recognize it necessarily. That they were dreaming of something and then had that dream come to reality. And they were thinking, man, I've always dreamt of this happening. And yet this all of a sudden, here it is. I can't believe it. And then it was just like, well, did you ever think that maybe it was all the practice and the experience and the network and all the times that you have done that eventually led you to the point that got you standing right here so that it could be delivered to you? Right? It's just like, that's how it works. If you don't think about it, then how could it ever possibly occur? I guess luck does happen, but everybody has this going on in their life, whether they know it or not. See, that's where I think it's crazy about it, is that if you don't even recognize that this is how it's done, then your life is obviously the condition that it is in because because that's how you think it should be. Like you again, I think this information needs to be delivered to me in a way that I can use it, right? I think it needs to like, how do you want to phrase it so that, you can manipulate the information to conduct it in a way that best outcomes your life, or has the best outcome for your life, and instead of just internalizing the information and just think, okay, I'll just naturally just do it. I will just naturally make the right decision knowing that I have learned Gresham's Law and Triffin's Dilemma and Bullwhip Effect and the Cantillon Effect and the Uneducated Economist is good economist. This is credible threat theory and all the speeches from the Federal Reserve and all the other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't need other people's information. I mean, I don't need it. I would like to have it. I would like to have it so that I can use it inside of all the rest of the information that I've gathered. And that is a whole different experience. It's a whole different experience in the economy than most people are facing. Listening to a guy who's screaming, like, talking about, like, wishing the bullet hadn't missed and how he lost $50,000 in his retirement and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you haven't really lost anything then, unless you cash it all out or something like that. So yeah, it's down, and that's probably scary, especially if you're close to retirement, and that's the meaning that you have given it. Other people are looking at it going, buying opportunities approaching, right? And that's what, that's the meaning that they have given it. They're all excited and super happy. The other one wants to see horribleness done. And it's just like, to me, I'm like, whoa. That's sad. That's sad to see it in both fashions. I mean, it's not sad to see like a buying opportunity coming, but it's sad to see it in a way that you would want to dance and sing while other people are crying their eyes out because they lost their entire retirement. Like, I don't want to give it that sort of meaning. But, when I look out there and I see those sort of things being conversed in front of me, it's just like, I didn't make that up. Like, I didn't, it's just like, I wouldn't have given it that meaning, but now I've listened to it. And so now I think about people who are giving it that meaning. I want people to understand what's going on so they can make the best decisions for themselves. And if they lost 401, like 50,000 in their 401k, they are blaming external on that. If I lost $50,000 in a 401k, I don't think I would be blaming an external. I'd be blaming my own self for thinking, man, are you really an economist who understands the markets as well as you say you do and be willing to lose 50K and be crying your eyes out over it? Is that the sort of meaning that I would be giving something like that? I doubt it. Like, I very seriously doubt it. People are asking me all the time, like, what do you think about this Bitcoin thing that happened? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, like, how it kind of, like, fell down real quick, and all that. It was like, yeah, you bet you lost a lot of money there. And I was like, again, you don't lose any money until you sell, right? It's just like, to me, I don't give it meaning like that. I don't, like, whatever. Bitcoin up, down, sideways. That's what it does. Buy another $50 next month, Fun little live stream, huh? 141 people watching. What do we want to talk about? All right. It's about taking accountability for your life. It really is. I don't get buying physical gold and silver. You lose 5% and selling, so you're immediately down 10% and it doesn't go up in value. It's only a hedge. Well, Hangry, I mean, first of all, it does go up in value, right? Oh, if it doesn't go up in value, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to misread that. Here's the thing, like, I kind of agreed with you in a lot of ways, right? Because I don't really look at gold and silver as the investment part of things. There was a time when I did, and a lot of people do, and they want to take it and say, hey, man, silver's a hedge against inflation, and the silver's this really awesome investment, and they want to give it that sort of meaning, right? And again, it's all about the meaning that you're giving it. And in fact, you're giving the idea of silver that meaning, right? And so you're like giving the idea, it was just like the meaning behind this is try to make money, and I don't understand why somebody would want to do that. Now, I had the same idea that I wanted to buy silver to protect myself against, inflation and all this other stuff. And in fact, there was all this idea of, oh, hey guys, let's take a quick break. Let's come back to the silver thing. Freddie wants to open up a mail call video. So we're going to let him do that for us real quick, okay? Here you go, Freddie. I'm going to set this right over here, and then you can show it off, all right?
All right.
So...
Fan mail.
Fan mail, yeah. I forget, what's up there? Yeah, I just want to show the addresses. Okay, go ahead.
Alright, so first thing, got 2 books. The Painted Cave.
Yeah, let me see one.
Yeah.
And then what does the back say?
In the rich, untamed forest of northern Minnesota and southern Maine, the Painted Cave follows Ethan Travers and Wendell Leavitt as they build an alliance with the Jackfish River tribe to confront the forces of corporate greed and exploitation. As they fight to protect the land, they also reckon with their own personal ties to it, uncovering the primal laws that govern both nature and humanity. With lives, both human and animal, at stake, the story serves as a reminder that whether in the wilderness or in the corporate world, survival depends on balance, intensity, and defense of what truly matters. Launching a trilogy, The Painted Cave artfully weaves...
Where are we at? Ancestral?
knowledge with the complex of modern land battles, inviting readers to a stirring exploration of their own personal connection to the land.
Well, that's pretty cool. It's kind of like their adventures out there. Ancestral. It's like your ancestors. Right?
Yeah.
It says, Simon, my husband has been watching your channel since 2017. After watching The Uneducated Economist for years, I thought you might enjoy the book, which loosely follows our careers in forestry, The Painted Cave. Oh, thank you so much. That's really awesome. Maybe we'll read this as a family. It doesn't seem like too terribly long of a book, so maybe I'll actually read it because you guys know that I'm a horrible book reader. But they also sent us a bunch of swag, so let's check this out too.
Alright. Yeah, I think it's all the same brand. We got 2. Watch about those.
Got the labels kind of here. Let's see. So we got these water bottles they sent us. Those are pretty cool. All right. Very, very awesome. They're really nice quality ones too.
I might bring one of those to school.
Yeah, I don't leave it. No. All right, some ball caps.
Yeah.
Very cool. So check those out. All right. Yeah. You would wear the red one well.
Yeah. There. More hats.
Yeah. We got...
Ooh, dropped a sticker.
Oh, a sticker? Ooh, let's see that. Maybe we'll flatten that out. We'll find a nice spot to put that one.
3 beanies.
Sticker.
3 beanies.
And then some beanies. Logo on there.
Yeah. Got sticker again.
Oh, some more stickers?
And 1 more sticker.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, here, I'll slide those into the book here. Well, right on. Well, thank you guys so much. That was really cool of you guys to send us this nice package with the books and the swag. These are really nice quality beanies. And the cups themselves, like, I mean, these are the high quality cups.
With, in the cups is another sticker.
Oh, some of the logos to it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. You can take it back inside?
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that out, dude.
Yeah.
The fans love seeing the fan mail stuff, and this was a really good one. There was a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah. Do you want to keep the books out here, or?
No, let's take them in. Let's read those. Maybe we'll try and bust into those this weekend.
All right.
Thanks, dude. See ya. Pretty excited when that came in. He was really wanting to open it up, but sometimes I get a little nervous about opening up packages live, so I made the decision to open them up first and then do them live. So anyway, but silver, right? So when I looked at silver, I used to think about it just like that, right? I would think about it as this hedge against inflation, against the, bad economic times that were going to be coming into the future. And I really fell into the whole idea that I was going to be like, crashing JP Morgan, or at least assisting in the idea of crashing JP Morgan by buying silver, because they had this huge silver short position and all that other stuff. Okay. Silver was going to run up to a lot of money, and I was going to be like, buying Lambos. I watched it go up to $50 an ounce. I was really excited about that. And then when it fell all the way down to the teens, and I hadn't sold a single ounce of it, and I thought to myself, man, that's a real bummer, right? Like, I had all this money that I had put into silver. I don't even know how much. It was a bunch of money that I had saved for the kids, and like, so now here I am, like, I had like thought that probably wasn't the greatest idea. Right? I'm like, whatever. So I had this box of silver, and I was kind of like, a little bit angry about it, I guess. And, and I was just kind of like frustrated with life in general, because like, my foreclosure was taking place. I was drinking a lot. A lot of people who know my story know this. So it's like, it's no big deal to tell it. And that's the condition that I was in at the time. And then my car broke down, and there was no way I was getting a loan. And family wasn't really like keen on helping me because of the condition of my life. And they're just like, oh, are we just going to give you the money? And I'm like, no, lend me the money, right? So I pulled out that box of silver, and I called up my buddy, and I said, hey, you got that Tahoe for sale? And he says, yeah, And I said, trade for silver? Oh, yeah. Comes up, trades me the silver for the Tahoe, and I had wheels again. I thought to myself, man, that's why I have silver. It's an insurance policy, right? It's an insurance policy against anything else that's going on out there. My life was deteriorating, all this other stuff, and I just kind of forgot about it, and it was there when I finally needed it the most, right? I had no way of getting to work. There was nothing I was going to be able to do, and I was really at the end. But being able to bust out that box of silver, it wasn't like I could go get a loan for a car, right? That wasn't going to happen. So being able to open up that box of silver and trade directly over for a car, that's pretty cool, right? That is a pretty cool thing to have. So some people might have been able to do it with cash. I would have nickel and dimed that cash away. It would have been gone to bills, to everything else out there. But, good thing the electric company doesn't take silver bars, right? But the neighbor does for the Tahoe. Right? Pretty cool. People say, like, how do you do that? I just did it again. I did it for the Suburban, and I secured a loan, essentially, with the silver. I used it as collateral. And then when I talked to the guy about it, he says, yeah, whatever. Pay me back. Don't pay me back. Right? And because what the deal is, I was going to I gave him 10-ounce bars, right, for the money for the Suburban. And I said, okay, I'm going to buy them back at this fixed price. And he says, okay. And it was a little bit of interest for him. And he says, buy it back or don't buy it back. And I'm thinking, perfect, right? I just did it again if I wanted to. Now, I'll probably buy the silver back. But ultimately, how cool is it that I can trade silver for a car? And so the first time, actually, it was 164 ounces for a car. This time I did it for 100, right? So actually I got a pretty good deal this time around. Of course, the Tahoe is a really nice car. Much better than the Suburban is. But anyway, moving on. Curious about your thoughts on the tariffs. Do they impact the USA or Canada more? Matthew, at this point, we really have to see what tariffs that are going to be implemented, right? And even if they are, we have to see what flexibility comes with it, right? Because they've already talked about the absolutely no exemptions or exceptions having flexibility to it, right? He practically said it in the same breath. It was so funny, right? So, I don't know. Like, I've seen lumber tariffs many times and nobody really cared in the past. Like, there was a little bit of like hype to it and talk, but most of the time when you're going to find lumber prices lumber tariffs, what you are going to see is it to prevent falling prices or too low of prices. Its tariffs are put on lumber to prevent like unfair dumping of subsidized lumber into the United States. These cheap lumber putting unfair advantage on our mills here. So this is like the idea behind tariffs. Now, the credible threat of tariffs is very impactful, and you can see a lot of people are very much reacting to this idea, and the news that's hyped up around it seems to be quite extreme, even though nobody knows exactly what it is that's happening yet. So all this idea of like, hey, we're going to put like, or okay. Here's, for example, this is how hyped up it is. Lumber tariffs are going to add $10,000 to the cost of building a house. Seems like a lot, right? But then if you think about a brand new constructed house, $10,000 can really mean the difference between what grade of cabinets you buy and what flooring you put in it. Like you could like increase or decrease the value of or the input costs of the house just with those two components. All right. So when I think about like people say like $10,000 to the cost of a house, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a lot, but it's not that much, I mean, like it was a time it was a lot. I remember a $5,000 wall pack would be enough to like it was huge. It would be enough to fill the entire truck, and it would be enough to build like all the walls for a house. $5,000. Right? At one point when lumber was at $1,700 per thousand, like you could put like $1,500 like would fit in like my S10. Like it was so like dramatically cheaper back in the day when you think about it in that fashion, right? But when you think about today and all the input cost and labor cost of land cost, permitting cost, and all the other costs that go into it, and then they say like the lumber tariffs are going to add $10,000 to the cost of a house, and it's just like, well, fine, just put in cheaper windows and doors and flooring and cabinets, and you'll save $30,000 anyway. Because you can spend a lot of money on the doors and windows, and like most people, when you do new constructed homes, unless you're in a really nice neighborhood, but if you're out in like the suburb areas and like less, I don't know how else to put it, but like say less affluent areas, then you're probably going to find vinyl windows and just 6-panel fiberglass doors or something like that, where it's not like exactly high end, stuff going into the house itself, depending on the neighborhood, right? Labor rates are up. That's why it costs more to build. Oh man, I redid my windows. It was expensive. Yeah. Yes, the carpenters will raise their price. Last time in 2021, I raised my price 100% because everybody else was doing it. Trash can man, yeah, I saw it happen right here in my hometown. You know what it really was? Is that there was people calling and could not find a car. Actually, I'm not going to talk about that. They could not find a carpenter, right? And so they were like desperate for one. And when the carpenters that did finally answer the phone, they were like, "Yeah, what can I do? I need you desperate. I need you to replace the window. It's broken or this other. Okay, it's going to cost you $2,000 for me to come out there and do that little tiny window. It'll probably take me an hour to do it." Right? I mean, it was like they were just charging these ungodly amounts because they simply just didn't even have the time, or like they probably just didn't have the time like to fit it in because there was just so limited amount of them. When there's a limited amount, right, supply shortages just like anything else, and you got this exceeded demand coming from a bunch of remote workers and retired folks and stuff like that moving out to the country where it's nice and quiet and safe and peaceful out here, and then they're like, where are all the workers, where are all the carpenters? And it was just like, well, you done kicked them out because you moved into their house, and then you wonder where they're at. That's funny. Like, I mean, do you think you would know? I mean, where do you think the dude went? You think he's in your basement or something? The man, it's just like, I love that when people were like, I can't find anybody, nobody wants to work. And it was just like, they want to work. What they want to do is live in a house too. But unfortunately, you bought it. So they're left. They ain't got no place to live. All right. Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Good times. All right. The term better off is relative. Are you the consumer or are you the salesperson? I was unfortunate. Like, trash came in. Let's see. Let me get that. I don't know. All right. I was fortunate to be very organized and bought most of my bathroom products well in advance for the contractor to stay ahead of him with the scheduling 3 months in advance, 8 years or so ago. Yeah. Well, that's a that is being very active in your project. And I've seen customers, like, people who are having a house built and they are very active. Like, other people are very distant, like they don't want to bother the carpenter at all. There's other people who are on site, like showed up with coffee for the carpenters, and then, like, had the place all swept up and picked up all the scrap pieces while they were gone or whatever, so that they had a nice clean job site. I've seen people very active on their job site, and, like, staying out of the carpenter's way. Like, the carpenters were happy to have them there. Other ones I've seen where it's just a complete disaster to have them, like, they're screwing around or whatever while they're on site, like, nitpicking every little thing that's going on. So, it's really, I guess it depends on that sort of relationship that you have with it and the meaning that you're giving it, just like anything else, right? Just like this video and the stuff that I talk about and the way that you're receiving it. All right, anybody doing anything to prepare for the recession? That's kind of an interesting one to think about. Like, what was it that is something like, what kind of preparing would you need to do that you wouldn't already be prepared at any given time for? Like, is there something going on that you have set yourself so far out to the edge that if there was an issue that came up that you would not be prepared to deal with it? Like, there's a lot of people out there who just, they live month to, like, literally paycheck to paycheck, every month to month. There's no, like, savings, there's no extra or anything else. That's dangerous to me. Like, that's one of the reasons why I don't buy new cars, right? Or I don't have a new car. It's because I just don't want to make the payment. I don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want the extra insurance. I don't want the maintenance. I don't want all that stuff that comes with it. I got this S10. I drive it around, no worries, right? So, again, like, the meaning that you give it is just like, how do you prepare for a recession? It's just like, how are you positioned for it? Like, I'm thinking, like, let's do it. Like, I mean, if that's what's going on, then let's go. Let's do it. Because it to me, again, it isn't good, bad, or ugly. It's like bad weather. It's raining outside right now. I'm not really that concerned about it, but if it was freezing, snowing outside, then I would be thinking, man, it's kind of cold in this car. I probably wouldn't like that very much. I would have to turn the heater on. There would be all kinds of things that I would be doing much differently. But it's raining, and I don't have to worry about that. And so it's just all about the meaning and the condition in which that you're in. If you're well prepared for it, if you're well diversified, if you got, assets that can carry you along for a couple of years or even just a few months, really, if you think about it, till you can find work or a job or something, if you get laid off, then you're probably doing it much better than the person who's going to be failing in a couple of weeks, and they're going to be looking at it so much differently than you. Now, I think about, like, everything. Prepare for everything. One of the best things that you can prepare for is food preservation, right? Be able to preserve food. Like, that's what I love about my wife. Just, she cans like you wouldn't believe. She can take about as much of anything that you want to bring to her, and she will have it canned up, packaged in the pantry by the end of the night, by the end of the day, right? Because she's good at it. Like, 100 pounds of fish, no problem, 12 boxes of carrots, easy as pie, right? And she'll, like, she doesn't even think about it. It's just like, just gets to work and starts packaging, processing it all up, putting it all in the jars, put the lids and rings on it, go through the boiling process, canning process, whatever it is, and then it's done. And you wipe it all down, you put it all away, and then you're done, right? And that's how she looks at it. It's not work for her, and I mean, it is work, but it's not difficult to do. Some people look at that and think, oh man, this is crazy. How do I do this? How is that happening? You know? And once you do it, once you've learned it, again, it's not that hard. And once you have that skill, now the idea of like shooting a deer, you can actually preserve it. See, if you go and kill some giant animal like an elk, right, and you got literally hundreds of pounds of meat, and you can only really eat just a little tiny piece of it, and the rest of it's going to spoil and go bad, then what was the point, right? There was no point in doing that. But if you can shoot an elk and then package the entire thing up and preserve it for the future, now that is a damn fine skill to have, right? Without electricity or anything, there's ways of doing it. So to me, that is like the skill of all skills to have. And something as simple as learning how to do vegetables and then moving into, you know, poultry or something of that nature is something anybody can do. They can do it in their apartment, right? You don't need to live on a farm to do that. All right, Simon doesn't want to answer my question. I don't know what the hell you're talking about because it would invalidate the credible threat theory. Oh, is this that beloved dude? You make no sense at all. Where's your question? Let me go back up there and let me see. Here we go. We got a super chat. That's way more important than you are. Okay. What is that? Chris? God, where are my glasses? All right. Chris Six Strings. I love the name. All right. UE. I suspect leverage contributes to growing wealth gap, profits on money backed by nothing. Oh, yeah. Well, anytime you ever bring new money into the system, I don't care how you do it, but if you bring new money into the system, give it to the poor, bring new money into the system and give it to the rich, it's always going to separate the rich from the poor and create inequality. It's just there's no way around it. I mean, it's really the Cantillon effect. So it's not like me kind of making that up or thinking that's the way things are today. That's the way it goes down throughout history. I mean, this is really like the heart of the Cantillon theory or the Cantillon essay or the Cantillon effect. All right, beloved, what does this say? YouTubers have been calling for recession since 2018. Think about it. Wow, okay, that's not a question. I'm going to give you one more shot. If you have anything other than a question in here, who is this guy? Okay. Is that your question, bro? You're kind of annoying. Let me see. Is it back there a little bit? Okay. I would buy consumer staples and retailers, but consumers will be substitute into Clorox, Dollar General, and Johnson & Johnson, etc. Okay. Well, bro, I gave you 4 chances. There was no question. I guess you're done. All right. Moving on. It is your ability to choose your sets apart from the animals. Okay, oh, here you go. Let me see if I can find it. All right. Does Simon believe or does not believe that the Fed wants inflation expectations to be untethered? If so, why does the Fed say that their biggest fear? Okay, first of all, I didn't say untethered. All right. Now, if you have been listening, what have I said? Like, I bet you at 172 people, there's probably at least 72 people who know exactly what it is that I have said that the Federal Reserve is truly shooting for when it comes to their inflation. And what is it moderately? Above 2% for some time. Moderately above 2%. Is that untethered inflation? See, why do you make stuff up and give it that sort of meaning, beloved? So you just had your shot. That's it. I'm never going to read another one of your comments. Sorry, bro. All right. I'm not sorry. No, I take that back. I'm not sorry. Simon believes the Fed does want high inflation expectations in order to move the R star or adjust the interest rates up of the zero balance. Yep, I do agree with that, trash can. All right, bones, trash can. All right. Gunner, good evening from Chehalis, Washington. Right on, just down the road. That's cool. All right. I have internalized the incredible uneducated credible threat theory. You know it, buddy. Yeah, trash can man. A lot of people have. And it's funny how I've met so many people now who who are seeing it differently now. Like when they, especially right now with the tariffs and everything and the way that people are behaving, they're finally like looking at it and they're like, okay. And I'm like, don't think that the tariffs aren't going to happen. I'm just saying, look at what people are doing and how they're behaving on account of the credible threat of those tariffs. Like they are reacting into the economy right now, right? They are creating an inflation expectation that is elevated. The Federal Reserve is shooting for moderately above 2% for some time. This isn't my words. This is coming from their consensus statement, right? I mean, people who want to argue with it don't really want to argue with the Federal Reserve itself. Like, I mean, even whatever homeboy was saying about the Federal Reserve screaming like they don't want inflation. Okay, right here, man. Let me show it to you. You can go and Google this yourself, right? I know you won't. You're too lazy, but God, I shouldn't be that way. Whatever. But right here. Where is it? The statement on, oops, that's not what I wanted. The credible threat. And so there's two things here that most people have no clue about. They don't ever read. All right. One of them is this. Yeah. Well, you can't read it because it's all backwards, but I'm going to show it to you right there, right? Let me see. It's damn glare. Anyway, you can't see it because it's glare. All right. Well, it don't matter. It's all backwards. Statement on long-run goals and monetary policy strategies. This right here is probably one of the biggest things that most people are missing. And even just recently in Jerome Powell's speech, he talks about this statement on long-run goals and monetary policy strategies. They call it the consensus statement. It says, in order to anchor long-term inflation expectations at this level, the committee seeks to achieve inflation that averages 2% over time and therefore judges that following periods when inflation has been persistently below 2%, appropriate monetary policy will likely aim to achieve inflation that is moderately above 2% for some time. Okay. They didn't say when inflation is running moderately above 2% for some time, they're going to seek to achieve inflation that is moderately under 2%. They said persistently under 2%, right? They didn't say persistently above 2%. They said persistently below 2%. Appropriate monetary policy will likely aim to achieve inflation moderately above 2% for some time. Does it sound like they're desperately scared to get inflation down to 2%? Or were they like persistently below 2%, which was pissing them off? And seeking to achieve inflation that is moderately above 2% for some time. See? Most people don't see it this way, but that's because they don't see it right? Most people don't see it right. And again, this is the statement on long-run goals and monetary policy strategies coming directly from the Federal Reserve, the consensus statement. Now, if you go to the recent speech given by Jerome Powell, let me see, do I have that down right here? I don't know if I have that recent speech. Let me just bring it up here real quick. Even in Jerome Powell's recent speech, oh yeah, here it is. March 7th, 2025, Economic Outlook, just simply titled Economic Outlook, right? And now he says, in the conclusion of that speech, it says this, before I conclude, I will note that at our last FOMC meeting, we began our second 5-year review of the monetary policy framework. We will consider changes to our consensus statement, the statement that I just read you guys. Statement on long-run goals and monetary policy strategies. Again, that was what I just read, the statement on long-run goals and monetary policy strategies. And into our communication as part of this review. The consensus statement articulates our framework for the conduct of monetary policy in pursuit of our goals assigned to us by Congress. They are clearly saying this is what we are doing, right? We are doing this. We will consider lessons of the past 5 years and adapt our approach where appropriate to best serve the American people to whom we are accountable. The 2% long-run inflation goal will be retained and is not a focus of the review. So again, what I had just read to you from the monetary policy strategy about the 2% goal was that in order to anchor inflation, in order to anchor long-term inflation expectation at this level, the committee seeks to achieve inflation that averages 2% over time. This is their goal, and therefore judges that following periods when inflation has been running persistently below 2%, appropriate monetary policy will likely aim to achieve inflation moderately above 2% for some time. And again, that is their monetary policy. That is the 2% inflation goal. That is the thing that is not coming up for review in the new consensus statement that will be coming out at the end of the summer. We will be looking for those words. If they have those words written in the consensus statement, I am right. I will be 100% right on everything. Now, I don't mean to be all arrogant like that, but I'll certainly be right when it comes to this damn monetary policy. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's broken it down like this. Right? And so what's funny about it is that what I love best about this whole idea, again, it's the meaning that you have given it, because we want to make sure and stay focused to the idea of what this particular video is about. And again, it's the meaning that you have given it. To me, when I think about that, when I think about what it is that I have read and understand about the Federal Reserve and that 2% target being a long-term inflation expectation, right? To have 2% over the long run, it's a 2% flexible average inflation targeting. When I internalize and I think about this and the meaning that I have given it, I don't have an external expectation other than that of I would expect something to be occurring within the economy that would keep inflation elevated. And here we are. Wow. I didn't know they were going to do it with the way that they are doing it. All I know is that it was going to occur. Right? And I didn't know it was going to occur. I was waiting to see if it would occur. And here it is occurring. And it's occurring in a way that is totally benefiting the Federal Reserve. How? By raising the neutral interest rate. How do I know that? Because it was the problem of the Federal Reserve back in 2018, well expressed by John Williams in a speech, Monetary Policy Strategies for a Low Neutral Interest Rate World. Right? I can just keep going in circles over and over again, and I cannot find anywhere where I'm deviating from this theory. Like I am consistently staying the same on this. There is no deviation to it. If there's no deviation to it, I must be right. And I'm not trying to brag it up that I'm right. I'm just following the Federal Reserve's own statements on what it is that they said that they were planning on doing with monetary policy. And since communication is part of that, you have to figure out how it is that they plan on communicating, and that's where Jefferson comes in, right? Jefferson gave a speech back in May 13th of 2024. It was called Communicating About Monetary Policy. Really strange, right? So communicating about monetary policy has a profound impact? Well, it sure does, and he straight up says it, right? Back in 1981, Karl Brunner, the Swiss monetary economist, called the central banking an esoteric art and lamented central banks' quote inherent impossibility to articulate its insight in explicit and intelligible words and sentences, end quote. At the time, central banking's wisdom dictated that monetary policymakers should say as little as possible. Some research of that vintage tried to rationalize this quote secrecy through the notion that monetary policy would be particularly effective if it surprised the markets. So back in the day, they said, hey, we don't want to communicate about monetary policy. We want to shock and awe. If you shock and awe, it'll actually be particularly effective if you do it that way. Well, later on, they realized that they could actually get more power out of their monetary policy if they just informed the people about it a little bit. Expectations became the focal point in academic and policy circles with the emergence of the new Keynesian models in the 1990s as a framework for monetary policy. In these models, aligning the expectation of decision makers in the private sector with those of the policymakers produced superior outcomes. They align their thoughts. Hey, let's give those people some meaning on what we're about ready to do because meaning has an outcome, right? So they give those people some belief, some understanding about what it is that's going on with the monetary policy, and it produced superior outcomes. Mike Woodford, one of the developers of the new Keynesian model, put it this way: not only do expectations about policy matter, but very little else matters. Not only do expectation about policy matters, but very little else matters. This is coming directly from the Federal Reserve. Famously known as the dot plot, or I'm sorry, this is when they developed these tools to communicate. It started way back with Ben Bernanke's day, because they had hit the lower bound of zero with the quantitative easing 1, 2, 3, and 4 during the great financial crisis. Ben Bernanke started the communication style. It goes like this: during the tenure of Chairman Bernanke, there was another burst of innovation in the way that monetary policy was communicated. In 2007, the first SEP, which is the Statement on Economic Projections, was published to convey systematically the economic outlook of the FOMC participants. In 2011, Chairman Bernanke started holding press conferences after every other FOMC meeting. In 2012, the Fed adopted an explicit inflation targeting of 2% and started publishing individual FOMC participants' views of the appropriate future path of the federal funds rate, now famously known as the dot plot. You see how they're building these things up? They built it up over time. What was it? In 2007, it was the SEP. In 2011, Ben Bernanke started holding press conferences after every other FOMC meeting. In 2012, the Fed adopted explicit inflation targeting, communicating that out there really well. Then in, the views of the appropriate future path of the Fed's funds rate, now famously known as the dot plot. During these years, Loretta, in her capacity as the research director of the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia, contributed to ongoing work on communication in collaboration with the policymakers and the Federal Reserve Board staff. So he goes on to continue. Of course, this was extraordinary times for monetary policy, as interest rates in most advanced economies were close to zero following the global financial crisis. See, this is when they built it up. They built this thing up during the great financial crisis, because once they hit the lower bound of zero, it was no longer an effective tool to adjust interest rates using monetary policy, or using the Fed funds rate as their monetary policy. The FOMC employed forward guidance, explicit communication about the future path of the policy rate, as a key tool to deal with the unprecedented situation. The research community had found that such forward guidance could be very effective in the context of the new Keynesian paradigm. When Loretta became president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland in 2014, she supported the continued use of forward guidance during these extraordinary times, in particular to communicate a lower for longer policy that could provide accommodation in the presence of the effective lower bound constraint. She also insisted that forward guidance could be used effectively in normal times as a means of clarifying the FOMC's reaction function. This is how they do it. This speech didn't come out that long ago. How old is this thing? May 3rd, 13th of 2024. Less than a year ago. Less than a year ago, they had this intense communication discussion with these other central bankers on how it is that they could deliver the message. Why would they be talking about it just last year if it wasn't important to them? This is how it goes down, guys. You got to break this stuff down like this. Infamous NYC, thank you so much for the $5. You're very supportive of the channel. All right. If you know what they're doing as business owners, couldn't you just raise prices and blame it on the tariffs? I'm sure stocks will pop off the profits. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of speculation that what could happen and will happen and stuff within this tariffs. Again, I'm in the wait and see. Like, I want to see to what level the actual tariffs are taking place. I want to see who it is that has flexibility. I want to, I mean, I want to see what the real deal is behind it. And once I see that, then we can have a much better understanding of it. Who knows what it is that's going to be actually done if countries start giving in? Let's say, okay, well, what is it that you want? All right, what is it that you want us to do? Or maybe it is in a crazy scheme to create counter tariffs so that you can drop your domestic tariffs and then export more money without actually having to do anything to try and create a situation that does it. I mean, I guess that would be the situation that you would create to do it, but I know that's kind of a wild, far off scheme. But I thought, man, what if that does happen? I mean, they're trying to figure out some wild ways to get money out of the United States, and the Federal Reserve had already talked about how it is that they could be buying the debt of a foreign nation. I mean, they could probably come up with some pretty wild schemes to try and get money out of the United States. People get all mad about, like, they're sending money overseas so that they could, teach some crazy people some crazy thing. I don't know, whatever it is you want to fill in the blank on. Right. And to me, I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's probably a simple way for them to get money out of the United States. And really, if you give it to a group that really doesn't know what they're doing with it, they would probably wastefully spend it, which would then kind of fill the sluices, which is essentially the goal anyway. So, I mean, like, to me, I look at that and I'm like, I'm not thinking that's a good idea. I'm just saying, when I understand what it is that the banking system with the powers that be are looking to do, especially when it comes to monetary policy and the being the custodian of the world reserve currency and trying to figure out a way that you can spread this wealth around the world without concentrating it into the hands of a few. And then every time you do this, it just concentrates to the hands of a few. And they say, well, all these people out there who shouldn't get it are getting it. And I'm thinking, who shouldn't get it? Like, who shouldn't get it? It's just like, taxpayer money going towards that. It's going to end up going somewhere, somehow. Right? And to be in that position of, like, I'm going to give it meaning that they shouldn't be doing this, then, well, you're going to end up being in a very suffering position, because that's just how they operate this system now. And it's sad to think, but that's really what it is. Right? Being responsible isn't, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I would love for them to be responsible, but that's not something I'm going to like, I can't give them meaning to do that. They're like, hey, go be responsible. I mean, it was just like, they ain't going to do it, right? So it's better to just understand this is why it's going down, right? And that, if you see it in a fashion that says this is going to be punishing, this is hurting, this is the problem, this is why it's all, screwed up, that again is the external that says this is what's causing this pain to me, this is what's this is what's holding me down. This is like the information that I am receiving is saying, hey, this is punishing information, and it's not being used in a way that says I need to figure out a way to move beyond this. Right? All about the meaning you give everything. All right, Chris Six Strings, $2. Thank you so much again. Are there other solid econ theories besides the four? Well, yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, if you really want to go through I mean, I'm just not. I would love to. I'm not going to go sit through The Wealth of Nations. It's just like, it's a book that's like, 900 pages long or something like that. It's too much. I can't deal with 25 pages of corn commodity talk and stuff like that. It's just like, it drives me crazy. But there are other economists out there who have broken down some really good theories on how the economy works. And once you start getting into it, you could probably find that most of them share somewhere along the lines those four. Like, if you internalize Gresham's law, Triffin's dilemma, Cantillon effect, the bullwhip effect, and then, of course, now mine's the credible threat theory, which is something that's, more about present day kind of stuff, but those four are like underlying economic forces. They're things that just can't change. And when they do find like evidence of it not existing, you're going to find that it's generally being forcefully done, meaning that it will take ever increasing amounts of government effort, subsidies, tariffs, or something to keep that economic force from presenting itself. So when you think about these four economic forces, you can read just about any article you want when it comes to BRICS nations, when it comes to, say, returning of manufacturing, when it comes to, say, the price gouging idea, right? Once you start looking at these things, then you start to like incorporate these theories into those like articles that you're reading and the events that are happening out there. And then it's not necessarily like excusing the situation, and it doesn't necessarily even give reason for why like a lot of people behave the way they do, outside of like it's just human nature that people operate the way they do. But then it also gives you the ability to like say, okay, when BRICS nations going to take over with a gold-backed currency, how are they going to prevent the people from hoarding it? Right? Because that's what a lot of people like. Why don't we just use gold and silver? It would be a much better currency for operating an economy. And I'm thinking, okay, if you had gold and silver in your hand and you had cash in the other, and we had a choice on whether or not we want to use gold and silver for doing commerce, and you come to me to buy some 2x4s, are you really going to be handing me a gold coin, or are you going to hand me the cash? See, like, I'm a lumber dealer and I don't care. I'm willing to do commerce. If you got a gold coin or if you got cash, I'm down for either one of those. Which one do you want to give me? Are you really going to give me that gold coin? Probably not. You're going to give me the cash. And that's Gresham's law at its simplest. And it goes all the way back to like the 1500s. So there's very little doubt in my mind that there's going to be anything different other than that. Right? Now, can you create laws that, say, legal tender laws and stuff like that that prevent that from occurring? Sure, but then you got government rule. That's an ever-increasing amount of economic, or ever-increasing amounts of government rule to prevent that economic force from playing out. So are there other economic forces out there? Well, probably, right? But those four are so like prevalent that I find it this reoccurring constantly. Almost every article I read, you can break it down to one or multiple of those four. And, I mean, there's other people out there who might have some political theories that would, be completely different from mine, right? That's the meaning. Again, it's the meaning that you have given it. I've given all this information the meaning that I have. And most of it is done from a lot of research. And once I find something, I have a tendency to kind of hold on to it. It's like, I don't forget certain things. Like I'll remember somebody said something and I'll be like, dude, you're going to be like, you're going to wish you hadn't said it. If that comes back to bite you, I'm going to remember you said that. And that's the kind of thing that I do, as far as research. Wow, look at all this. Okay. I don't see how anybody could say they have been 100% fiscally responsible. It's hard to say what would have happened if we would have made a different choice with our money. Well, when you say a different choice with our money, you're talking individually or are you talking about as a country? With global concerns, because see, hold on before I move on here, because the way I look at that is that we did not have to accept Federal Reserve notes, right? We could have made the decision that we will only accept gold, but we didn't do that, right? We wanted to eat, we wanted to do work, we wanted to do transactions, and we accepted Federal Reserve notes. Now, that's our fault. That wasn't anybody's decision. I mean, obviously it was somebody's decision to make the creation of it, but it was our decision to do it. Like we could say, no, we're not working for that, but we didn't do that. All right. With global concerns of low inflation and consumer demand dropping at an alarming rate and major central banks dropping rates, won't this affect the Fed's goal of high inflation expectations in the future? I don't know, man. I mean, when I go and I have conversations with people, they all seem to have pretty high inflation expectations. All right. Now, will it create actual inflation? I don't know. But generally, inflation expectation is a self fulfilling prophecy. And you can kind of see that taking place as people are already increasing their prices and not willing to bid low because, they're worried about what's going to end up happening in the future, which is the self fulfilling prophecy of higher inflation. So, I mean, would it create lower inflation expectation? I would imagine that if we have recessionary pressures that are then kicking in, that would be creating like lower inflation expectations. But is that happening? I mean, we got the consumer demand up. We got people who are thinking that there's going to be, some pretty bad stuff happening with the tariffs. And so, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess give it the meaning that you want. But to me, I look at it as just like they're pushing for elevated inflation expectation and they're getting it. Once I realized trolls are not worth my time, good for you, Walrus, I stopped caring about them. Plus, getting older, you just don't care. Yeah, that's kind of true. All I care about is fears of inflation all over the news. Where do you get your information from? Are you one of the others? So, I mean, I share all the information that I get, like me personally. And I mean, there's like links down in the description of just about everything. Those member only live streams I've broken down. I've told you about the economic theories. Um, I I've studied this stuff a lot, so you also have to think like I have internalized a lot of Peter Schiff, right? A lot of Peter Schiff. Um, Gerald Celente, huge. I was a huge Gerald Celente fan. Um, who else did I take a lot of information in? There was a guy out there for a while on YouTube, and I listened to him for a good year. And his name, and if I got it right, it was SGT Bull 07 or something like that. SGT Bull 07. Anyway, SGT Bull. And I remember oh God, I just loved his YouTube channel. I would watch so many of his videos and he would do all these excellent interviews with people and stuff. And I just thought he was just the greatest. And so I followed a lot of these people for a very long time, right? And then I also, because of this, for argumentative purposes, because that's really what it came down to, is because I really liked arguing with my TV, I guess, is I would listen to a lot of the mainstream news and try to understand like the whole Keynesian model aspect of things because I was a huge Austrian economics fan, hard money, all that other stuff, big time conspiracy theorist, and listening to a lot of these other economists who had this Keynesian view. I would get so mad at them. I'm like, you guys are idiots. You don't know what you're doing. And then I had to one day kind of back away from that and say, well, if they didn't know what they were doing, then this wouldn't be going on, right? Like just straight up. Like, I mean, here it is 20 years later, it's still going on, right? And these idiots don't know what they're doing, but yet it's still happening, right? So it's at one point you have to say, okay, it's not a matter of me giving it meaning of saying, hey, they don't know what they are doing. It's more like, I don't understand what's happening here. And that's when I gave up on all the ideas that there is a single economic theory that is correct, because there isn't. It's just is. And it's about the position that you have taken inside of it. See, that's where I think a lot of people get very well, I need to know how to understand this economy. You understanding the economy is going to be very unique to you. Do you think that the guy who owns 150 rental properties is thinking about the same guy who's washing cars for a living? Do you think those people are even thinking anything remotely close to one another? I could sit here and spit out credible threat theory all day long. Those two would retain that information completely differently. There would be nothing the same about it. All right. And so that's why it's best to understand that the economy is individual. We we own our own economy. We must take responsibility for it. The moment that you ask the question, what am I supposed to do with the information, instead of how it is it that I'm supposed to use this information, like you ask yourself, not ask me, you ask yourself, how do I use this information with the position that I am in, right? Because the moment that you ask somebody else, what am I supposed to do with this information that I've gotten, then you're now putting it out there on the external, and it's going to be, you're going to be at the mercy of that. All right, Peter Schiff will be right someday. I think the predictions is a way of selling his gold. If you listen to the way that he talks about how it is that the government conducts themselves and then remove a lot of like the fear-mongering tactics that would lead you to making gold purchases, you can actually find that he's quite informative about how the government is operating. Like kind of like the details of like the treasuries and how that market works and how it impacts, right? So there's a lot of really amazing good information coming from Peter Schiff, and there's very little doubt in my mind that people can use that information to benefit themselves, because that's what I did. I mean, I totally used it to my benefit. But I do have to agree in the sense that he puts out a lot of doomsday predictions, and it's just like, well, eventually, yeah, some of these things are probably going to end up coming right. For the most part, it is a fear tactic or a sales tactic, really, to try and sell gold. I mean, I'm a salesman, right? I see the techniques. Takes one to know one. So, all right, not you, Simon. I was commenting on the person you just made that comment to in the right. Oh, in line with. Oh, it's all right, trash can man. We're cool. Peter Shift. Oh, that's right. We'll be okay. The beginning of wisdom is knowing you don't know what the heck is happening anymore. That's me. Well, I think it's also understanding that there's things out there that you just don't know, right? And that's where. So, say for example, I was kind of amazed the other day when I was talking to a builder friend of mine, and he builds in a kind of a higher end area. So like these homes would sell for like $700,000, right? So they're not like high end, but they're like they're decent homes, and they're built by famous like commercial, like a big time builder, right? One of the giant nationwide home builders. And this guy, he just bought this house, right? And he was negotiating the price with them, and they were not willing to back down on the price at all. And he was like, well, I can't really afford it at these interest rates. So they started doing the buy down, which is very typical. Well, what's not typical is the dramatic buy down that they bought on his interest rate. So they kept the house the same price, which goes on the books at like, it was a little over $700,000, but then a dramatic buy down, to the point that it was like, it took it down to it was just under 5%. It was like 4.99%, 30 years. And I'm thinking to myself, this is unheard of. Like, I didn't know this was taking place. And so I talked to the builder again. I said, are you sure this is the way it goes down? He goes, yeah, this is an employee of mine who just did this, right? Because he's kind of a big builder, and I don't know what the employee does for him, but He said, yeah, this is one of them. He says, I'm going to talk to him again later and get some of the details of it, and I'll let you know, a little bit more about this. But yeah, he's signing this 30-year fixed rate, 4.99%, said that he would buy the house at the asking price for it, and they bought the house down, or the interest rate all the way down to that level. So, as people are looking out there and talking about how these elevated interest rates are impacting the economy, I'm thinking, how many of these deals are taking place? Like, this might be a very unique deal that is just like, not only opportunity to him. I don't know how this comes down, but I would imagine that if it's occurred for him and that is the truth and that is occurring, then there's probably other deals that are occurring very similar to that. And that's not something that's very well talked about. So this is something that, like, I don't know, right? But I don't know this. And I don't even know if it's true or not. And that's where I leave it at that. It was just like, okay, until I actually get the information. See, I don't even really want to talk about it like right now, but since it's a hypothetical for this most part, I think you guys can get it. So once I get this information and it's real to me, right, then I can start using that to incorporate into the rest of the economy. But as of right now, I look at that and I think, okay, this is something that I know I don't know about, right? And I know that it's something that is occurring out there, but to what level, to what truth, to what truth is actually taking place? So many questions out there. Once you get the information and you're well aware of it, then it's like, okay, now it's solidified. You got it. All right. 97. Oh, okay. Did we? All right. Do you know what I told my kids when they became old enough to understand what money was? I told them there's a group of people in Washington that prints a whole bunch of money and gives it to friends. Friends, it turned out it was right all along. I am from the government. I'm here to help. Thank you very much for your excellent insight. Well, thank you, Claude. I appreciate you guys for being here. We got 146 people watching with 133 likes. $12 in super chats. You guys are always so awesome for hitting that like button and sending off the super chats and supporting the Uneducated Economist. And again, like, this is the place that you're going to get information you just don't get anywhere else, And I don't mean to brag it up, but I just love the fact that we have done this and that we have this going. It's a place that you can go to get it. It's constantly consistent, showing within things that are happening in everyday, what's with the everyday economy happening today. We incorporate the credible threat theory into it. It's working. Like, to me, I've had so many people say, man, I understand a lot more about how it is that the economy is operating now from watching this channel. They're recognizing it within their own business. They're like, man, I'm starting to do more counting of how many customers and what time they come in, what it is they're ordering, how many kids are coming in, because this is the things that I say that I look at. When I go into a restaurant, the rare times that I do, but when I go into a restaurant, that's what I do. I look around, I say, who's eating? How many kids are in the restaurant? How many, what is it that the people, like, how old are the people? Because to me, that's all economic information. When I'm driving down the road, I look for how many paper plates I see. Like, the dealer plates that show that you just bought a new car. I look for those. Like, I can't help it. I just drive down the road and I just think about that. I was like, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Huh. Oh, there's another one. 3 of them in a row. This is it's constant. All right. It's called the American Dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. I don't think so, man. I think that you have to be asleep to believe that it can be occurred in the way that you want it to. Like, you can make the American, like, I'm proof of it, man. I mean, I'm buying a house. I have kids. My wife goes to work. I understand that I am not going to be able to provide a life that is mimicking that of the 1950s. But for the most part, house, wife, kids, cars, right? Nothing fancy about any of it, right? Just very modest everything. But here it is, it's occurring. How did I do it? A lot of dedication, a lot of work, a lot of time. Right? Is that the same that they did back in the 50s? No, probably not the same. But the American dream is there. How do you get there is up to you. The meaning that you give it could be one of saying, hey, you have to be asleep to see it or get it. Or you could be one that says, I'm going to dream of ways that I can get this done. Right? I'm going to put that in my head. I'm going to think about it. And I'm going to give it a positive feeling on how it is I'm going to get that done. And I'm going to do that, because it's possible. Yo, Simon, you need to start selling Bitcoin stuff. Okay, guys, I've been really, really, really considering sponsorships. Right now, really, what I would love is to have the fans sponsor the channel. That's really what the point of the members only channel or the member only videos are, is for the viewers to be the sponsor of the channel. Right? That way I don't have to take sponsorship of some product that nobody really cares about. I don't have to go and promote some business that nobody cares about. We could be like literally self-funded here by the viewers themselves, sponsoring the channel. And if I was to have like 10,000 members to the channel sending $1 a month, that would do it. Like that would totally make everything happen. Now, I know how much I can make off a sponsored video, especially a really popular sponsored video. And I see what some YouTubers are out there doing, and I think to myself, wow, I leave $1 million sitting there. It's just sitting like right there. It's like literally, it's so funny to be able to go like, what? There's $1 million right there. I could just go pick it up. And I don't do it. It is like, it's the strangest feeling in the entire world to think I don't want to earn the money that way. Like, how egotistical is that? To say, here's your opportunity to make money. It's survival of the fittest. We're all out here in this rat race, and there's the $1 million, and you don't go get it. Why? All right? Does that make any sense at all? But this is literally something I face. I've been facing this for a while now. I have done sponsored videos in the past, and they make me feel like hell. I don't like doing them. Everything I put out is 100% me, honest me, not deviating from anything. I'm not giving information that is being delivered by somebody else. This is me, right? 100%. And the moment that I deviate from that, I don't feel good. I don't feel right. I don't feel like I'm being honest. So it's difficult for me to take a sponsorship. But I see other YouTubers out there that's like, oh, buy these products and look at me make $1 million in a couple of months, and I'm thinking, oh, what am I doing? Talk about, it's tough. All right, get the million and donate it to me. Yeah, Larry Bird, I hear you. All right, it takes the million so you don't have to, Simon. I'll take the million. I know all these people. I want the million, don't get me wrong. I just don't like the way about going about it. But I'm considering it, right? Because everybody else does it. And this is what you're supposed to do. Once you have built up a YouTube channel, you're supposed to sell out, I guess. I don't know. What are you supposed to do? I mean, just being reliant on ad revenue is good. But it's very inconsistent. And at times it's not very good at all, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm appreciative to have it, and I appreciate every single super chat and PayPal donation that I've ever received. The support for the channel has been so encouraging, and it's one of the reasons why I don't push for the sponsorships. But also, it's at some point you just have to think to yourself, man, are you going to sit around and just not have it when it's right there? Like, why wouldn't you do it? All right, moving on. Yes, Huey, if you were a doctor, they would take your medical license. Truth, selling out. Yeah. Fix the money, fix the world. It was a healthy weasel. It wasn't a conversation. All right, Huey, you can accept sponsorships when your interest diverge. You can separate ways. Go do it. Yeah, I mean, it's not that. It's just, it's just like literally like every single time I've ever come out here, outside of the few times I did those sponsorship videos, what you have gotten was me. You've never gotten me trying to do anything other than be me. So that's what I feel good about. And the moment that I'm out here saying, hey, let me tell you about how awesome these glasses are. These are the best glasses that you could ever possibly see. When you put these glasses on, you're going to be able to have that reading that gives you the ability to read all day long without the strain and the headaches that you get from your normal eye strains or whatever. Like, I can push it out there, right? I mean, selling is easy for me. That part's not a problem. I can sell all day long. This channel means so much more to me. Right? This channel like is literally me being me. Right? And it's the true authentic me. When I go to work, like that's different. You're gonna get a salesman on the other side of that counter. Hey, what can I do for you guys today? Oh yeah, you want some decking? Let's go take a look at some of the products that we have here available. Right. I mean, it's just like to me, it's just a show. It's just an act. When I come out here, this isn't an act. This isn't no act. I mean, sometimes I have to rehearse in order to get the information out, but this is me. All right. This is deep. Whatever, beloved. All right. Simon, when I listen to all the podcasters, I don't hear their commercials anymore. I just know that's business. Yeah. Yeah, and it is. And I understand that there's a lot of people who feel that way. But again, like the energy that I put into this, is authentic, real energy, right? I mean, this is like me flowing through this naturally. And the whole point, like even the thumbnail says, like, trust the process. So I know it's being offered. I know it's there. To me, it's abundant. Like I think about it in abundance. I don't think of lacking. I don't have any lacking. Everything's like, everything's cool. So if there's other ways that $1 million can be made, or that, that wealth, that whatever, that fantastic wealth, if there's other ways of happening, maybe that's the trail that I'm on, right? So I don't think about it too much. I just trust the process and just go through it, and not try to deny myself things like that, but then say, how does this really make me feel? As am I really enjoying doing this? Is this me and me? And if I can say, no, man, I'm forcing myself into this, then I don't want to do it. All right. The solution to only align yourself with sponsors that also align with your ideals. As an audience, you just have to be transparent. Yeah, but I guess like, okay, so what if an energy drink comes to me and says, hey, man, I would love for you to push this energy drink. I don't like energy drinks, right? But I don't care if other people have energy drinks. You see what I'm getting at? Like, it was just like, so I don't want to trust that one. Okay. Well, what about this clothing line? Hey, wear these shirts and these, and these pants or whatever, and we'll sponsor you through that. It was just like, I really don't like this clothing line. Right? Oh, here's this part for your car. Right? Anytime you ever do your car videos, you're talking about your car. This one just recently happened. Right? It was just like, you can have this part on your car. And I'm thinking like, I don't know if this is really doing it for me. Like, I don't know if like pushing these products is really something that I feel would be a natural thing that I would feel is like, yeah, man, this aligns with my, like, with my core beliefs, kind of thing. It's just like, it's just a car part. I don't care about car parts, right? I mean, I don't disagree with car parts, but it isn't something that I don't even know anything about, right? So I think about that kind of thing, like being in search of a particular product to sell, as opposed to just like whatever comes about and just say, yeah, okay, I agree to it, or I don't agree to it. Because there's plenty of stuff that I could just agree to that would be very like, neither here nor there on whether or not the product is a good or bad thing to promote. It'd just be like just another product out there. So again, like, I don't want to talk too deep into it. We could talk economics. It's just that one of those things that I think is is something that I'm missing out a lot on, something that I could be using to benefit myself, my family, and everything else, and I'm just not taking a whole lot of advantage of it, because really I would love to do it in a very egotistical way, and that is to have the viewers themselves sponsor the channel by becoming a member. It's $1 a month. I would love to get 10,000 members. If I could get like half of the subscribers to do it, you know how awesome that would be, to get in like $75,000 a month by the members only sending me $1 a month. Like, how rad would that be? It's incredible to think. But I mean, that's kind of like, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I mean, that's not necessarily something that I'm like, anticipating and to be happening. We're at 600 and something members, which is just absolutely incredible. And I just love doing these member only live streams when I do them, because of the tight community that we have of people who have joined in on that. But really, I would love to see it much, much bigger than that. All right. And I do actually have some stuff for sale. Like, I mean, you can go buy hoodies. I got like, Teespring site that has all kinds of merchandise on it, so you can go buy stuff there. You can go and click on the Amazon affiliate link, and that'll take you to the Cantillon essay. You can go buy Cantillon's essay. It's in the big print too. You can go buy that essay. I get a little commission off of that, but then you don't even have to buy the essay. Just follow the Amazon affiliate link and then go put whatever you want in the cart, right? Anything you put in your cart for the next 24 hours, as long as you purchase it within the next 30 days, I will get a commission on that too. So if you want to support the Uneducated Economist, all you have to do is shop on Amazon like you normally would. Just go to one of my videos, go down to the Amazon affiliate link where you have that link to the Cantillon essay, hit that link, and then just put whatever you want in the cart for the next 24 hours. It's, that's all it takes. And then boom, that's it. I'll get a little commission off of all those items. So it's another way of just supporting the Uneducated Economist and not doing really much different than what you're doing right now. Right? Just follow that link first. We have seen the enemy and they are the U.S. citizens. Man, that's a terrible way of looking at it. It's kind of true, though. I think Whistling Diesel is a good example of someone who made it and enjoys getting behind anything he promotes. No, I'm not saying that there's a good energy that can be had from people who do that. My channel was built off of me being me, talking economics from my point of view, not really attempting to try and make any money. Like, I never tried. I monetized the channel as soon as I could because I thought making $100 would be a fun experience. That was it. That was my entire goal for money making on YouTube. Here it is. I don't even know, $250,000 later or something I've made. I don't even know how much I've made on YouTube now. Right. But it's a lot, right? Because I didn't put all this money down on a house and paid off a bunch of bills and live life and do all the other stuff that goes with it. But I only tried to make the $100. That's it. After that, I didn't try. It was just the only thing I tried to do was put out good videos, and everything else landed in place. Even the sponsorships that I did do, which were really good, guys, you wouldn't believe it. Like, they pay so much stupid money. It's like an ungodly amount of money, especially for a guy like me who works an hourly wage and stuff. Like, the amount of money that they would pay for a 10-minute video to promote a gold company that I don't give a shit about was more than I would make in months and months and months. And here it is, boom, 10-minute video. That's it. That's all it took. I'm like, wow, man. All right, authenticity might be worth more long-term than a temporary sponsorship deal. Well, Nick, I think that's really what carried this channel along the whole time. All right? Is me truly being authentic to it. Not trying to bow to some sponsors, not trying to make money at it, not trying to do any of that. I'm in an energy of flowing by being me. And that's it. Like, so long as I stick to that, I don't know. As long as I don't deviate from it, I don't know how it could go wrong. Right? I mean, it's just like, it's the way I've always done it. It's the way, I mean, I understand there's room for change in just about everything. And believe me, I'm trying to figure out how it is that I could be more present on some of the other social media areas and stuff. But this is it, right? All right, let's talk economics or something. I wonder how well authenticity transitions to a channel with sponsorships. Um, I think as long as the content creator is really honestly feeling like their content that they are creating is that for the information that is true to them and to their audience, and not one that's being delivered to their audience for the sake of getting views so that they could be, getting more money from the sponsorship. I think as long as they stick true to themselves and what it is that they are putting their energy towards their, as far as like, the content itself. I mean, I think people probably are very authentic, even with the sponsorships. I'm just saying the reason why I did it is because this is who I started off being. Like, I didn't push for the idea of making money. A lot of those other people did. And like that was their goal. And they are very authentic with their idea. This is what I did to make money. And and I have no problem with that. And most people don't either. But that's not what I was doing here. Like, part of the credibility of the channel itself was the fact that I wouldn't do edits. So it was one consistent shot or a live stream, right? I even got like to the point that I don't even like doing pre-recorded videos. I'd just rather do a live stream just because I find that's more authentic than anything I could do. So once I, had taken that kind of idea about it and wasn't pushing for anything, people recognize that. I wasn't selling any products. I wasn't trying to push any agenda. I wasn't doing anything other than putting out the information and just talking like a normal everyday guy. Right? Well, I mean, maybe not normal, but I mean like an everyday guy. And and this is where it's gotten me. Well, I have to hand it to you. I have seen your channel grow and almost jealous. Well, thanks. I mean, I take that as a compliment, actually, man. I mean, I really do. Um, but I don't think you necessarily have to be jealous. If you want your own channel, stick to it. I mean, stick to it. Be authentic, be real, put out videos that you would want to see. Not videos that you think might go viral or something like that, but put out videos that you would want to see. Talk about things that you would want to hear about. Yeah. People would resonate with that. Do you have any economical data on Jamaica? I don't. I wish I did. I've been to Jamaica. I mean, that's about it. What time is it? 8:30. All right. I wonder if everybody went to bed. It looks like the lights are out in the house. Alrighty, guys. I'm not sure how much later we're going to stay out here. We do have 144 people still watching with 151 likes. Thank you so much for hitting that like button. Damn, I'll be go and haven't bought a UE t-shirt yet. Yeah, no, there's a link down in the description to Teespring. And yeah, there's, t-shirts and hoodies and hats and different things. Although Cody was telling me something about like the hats are sold out. So, and I haven't been to the site in quite some time to update any of the merchandise. Some of it's kind of old. But my friend Chandler, who is missing in action. I mean, I've talked to her sister, so she's not like missing, but she bailed on me. I don't have a Chandler anymore, but I'm figuring things out as far as trying to get all that stuff back and up and running and, doing the podcast kind of thing and stuff like that. I was just so busy trying to do other things and just keep up on YouTube that I had a hard time trying to keep that, other social medias going. But Sarah's going to be on summer break here before too long, so maybe we can get her to do some of that stuff. I said I almost jealous. I'm not jealous of you. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why you'd be jealous of me anyway. I was figuring the channel. Let's see here. I mean, it's not like you go and like, I don't have like, fancy cars or anything else going on in life. So it's like outside of having, clout on YouTube, if that's really something to be jealous of. Easier said than done. Get redundant help. All right. Are we done, guys? I think we're done for the night. We really broke down a lot of stuff. Giving meaning to the information is all upon you. What it is that you plan on doing with your life, with your future. How it is that you understand the position that you have taken. The things that occur to you in your life and how you feel about what has occurred to you. You know, all this has an impact and it changes the outcome. So, I think when people listen to the information, instead of trying to take the information as what do I do with it, you internalize it and say, how can I use this information to better myself? And that's really the ultimate, point of this video, I believe. So, alrighty, you guys are awesome. What does that say? I'm in turtle mode, slow and steady. Well, slow and steady actually isn't bad when it comes to like investing and dollar cost averaging. So, slow and steady is okay. Hey, you better bring back the dice. Yeah, I was looking. I don't see the dice in here, so I think Freddie must have taken them inside or something. I don't see it all out here. All right. I try to use information to guide me in the stock trading that I'm learning. Yeah, and that's, really, there's a lot of good channels out there that talk about stock trading and how to read the stock markets and graphs and stuff like that. So, all right, Simon Dice Clay. That is all nighter. All right, thanks for the ear candy. Yeah, you bet, all nighter. Thanks for being here. Hey, Bittner. Oh, hey, Bittner. I'm glad to see you up in here, bro. Take it easy, man. Enjoy your weekend. Yeah, you guys as well. I gotta work Sunday, but that's okay. I get another day off during the week next week, so. Oh, all right. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.